Hello and welcome to this module where we are going to discuss the scheduling of tasks. When you schedule your tasks or activities on MS Project, it is the same as scheduling your activities in your diary. In other words, you are determining when each activity must start and when it must end. There are two modes for scheduling in project. The first is what we call manual scheduling. In other words, you decide when that activity will start and how long it is, and the scheduling of each individual activity does not depend on any other activity. So, when you manually schedule your activities, you can either put the duration when you type in the task name and the duration next to it. But if you are not yet ready with the duration, you can even type in a text in the duration field to say still to decide, or you can even say ask the project manager. But when the scheduling mode is automatic, every task that you create is automatically given a duration of 1 day, and it is automatically scheduled to start on the first day of the project. As you can see on the chart here, the edges for these task bars, they are not sharp. In other words, they are actually lighter than the body of the bar. This is because we have not yet scheduled the activities. In other words, the program does not know when this activity is going to start. So if we go under start date and select a date, say the same as the project start date, which is the 12th, you can see that the edges are now defined, and it is starting on the 12th, ending on the 13th, because it is a 2-day activity. So once you have got a start date, then MS Project will calculate the end date based on the duration. So if we take the next one, which is for 3 days, and we say it also starts on the 12th, then project will automatically calculate an end date, which is the 14th of October. So these activities or tasks, they are still manually scheduled. However, if we decide that we are going to automatically schedule all the activities, in other words, we are going to change the mode for scheduling, we can either change them one by one by going on this column that says task mode, and you actually change here from manually scheduled to automatically scheduled. So you can see that even the symbol changes as well. So if we would like to change the mode for all the activities, we don't have to do them one by one. We simply select all of them. So you can actually just highlight all the activities. And then we go to the task information, which is on the task tab, and then information under properties. Schedule mode, we select auto scheduled. So once you say auto scheduled on all of them, you can see now that they now have a start date and an end date, but they are all still starting on the first day of the project. The reason is because we have not yet defined if there is any relationship between these activities. So in other words, if we were to tell the program that activity 2 only starts when 1 is finished, then because it is automatic scheduling, it will now shift this activity 2 to start after activity 1 is finished. But we are going to deal with that when we do the linking of tasks. It's one of the modules that is coming pretty soon. So for now, we are going to move these activities by simply dragging them. So if you put your cursor inside and it gives you those 4 arrows that cross, you can then drag it, and as you are dragging, you can see that inside the screen tip it is changing the dates, task start and task finish. So once I see that it is now giving me the correct start date, which is the 14th, I release. And when I release it, it's giving me a suggestion to say the first task and the second task might be related. So do you want to link these tasks? Remember, we said we are going to deal with linking. So if I say yes, I want to link the tasks, I will leave the first option, link them. Biomaterials will always follow draw the plan. So that is what linking is all about. So I say okay. So now you see that it puts an arrow which joins the end of first activity to the beginning of the second activity. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo so that I go back to where we were. But this time I'm going to say no, I do not want to link them. So I simply drag. So notice that when I start dragging, that screen tip will appear here as a box with information about the start date and end date for this activity. So I'll start dragging. So the moment I click, that screen tip appears. So I want it to start on the 14th. So I drag until the task start is 14th. Then I leave it. Now it's suggesting the link. So I'm going to choose the second option, which says move by materials without adding a link. So if I click there, then it simply moves independently and I've not created the link here. So I'm going to do the same. After buying materials, we start with the digging of foundation. For now, I'm moving without creating the link. Okay, so this one is supposed to start on the 17th, not 16th. Okay, so I simply move it until the start date shows 17th. Right, so I click, I leave it and say move. Now you can see that I told it to start on the 17th, and then it sees that 17th is a Saturday, and then there's also a Sunday. So it will not agree to start on the 17th, even though when I drag, I drop it into 17, but it's going to automatically go to the nearest or to the earliest working day, which is the Monday. So this is how easy it is to simply drag and drop your activities. So now I know that Saturday and Sunday is not working, so I can just go to Monday. So now I want to tell it that I do not want it to make this suggestion again. So I simply click here where it says don't tell me about this again. So I click OK. So this is how you can manually drag and drop your activities. But as I said earlier on, it is easier when you create links between the activities. So for the purpose of this exercise, we are going to leave it here because it will take us quite a long time to drag and drop these activities. So we'll rather wait until we create the relationship between these activities so that the program can automatically schedule them for us. So in other words, we are simply going to tell it that the pouring of concrete comes after building of the foundation wall, or the painting comes after plastering. So that is what we mean by the linking of tasks. So we are going to be looking at that in a module or two to come. So for now, I would just like you to drag and drop these tasks just like I did now. So I dragged the first 1, 2, 3, 4 tasks. Now you can notice that my task number 4, it is wrapping to the next line because my column is not wide enough. So all you do is come to the top here on the boundary of the 2 columns. Your pointer turns into a cross. Then you simply drag it to the right and it is going to resize that particular column. And you can see that it is still 2 lines. Why? Because my date column as well is wrapping. So I move my date column like that. So in addition to adjusting the column width, you can also adjust the row height as well. So by simply dragging it up or down. Okay, so for now you can save your project and then we will be looking at the linking of tasks in the next module.